Christian.
Yes. I'm sorry, you're waking me out of my fear over what we're going to do with this character.
Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Emilio. That's my friend Christian. We build characters for D&D 5e every week based on different prompts and parameters. If you've been enjoying our show, please give us a like, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. And now, let's roll characters! Characters. Let's roll the characters.
I would like to tell you some things today. We're gonna change it up a little bit. Emilio and I have been talking. The personality traits, the bond, the ideal, the flaw, all that stuff. We're gonna roll for that too for just this episode. And so we're changing up our orders of the rolls here. And so first, Emilio, could you roll us a D4 for gender?
A 3.
So we have a non-binary character. A D10 for ancestry.
It's a 7.
That's an orc. Another D10.
8.
Tiefling-cultured. A D12 for class.
5.
A fighter. Background, that's a D20.
17.
A spy.
We've done this several times. I'm throwing my veto card.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on. It's a 3.
It's a criminal.
It's a 16.
A soldier.
Fighter.
I don't know.
Soldier.
Let's re-roll.
I rolled a 1.
An acolyte.
We've done that a couple times too.
Roll again.
Let's do a hermit or something. 11. A noble.
Ugh. All right. Let's just do a hermit.
It's a 9. A hermit.
What a 9. Amazing.
How do you like that?
Okay. So now we're going to bump into the hermit background, and we're going to go ahead and roll some stuff here. Roll me a D8 for the type of life of seclusion.
It's a 1.
I was searching for spiritual enlightenment. The first personality trait, we're going to need another D8, please.
An 8.
I am working on a grand philosophical theory and love sharing my ideas. Another D8, please.
It's a 3.
The leader of my community had something wise to say on every topic, and I'm eager to share that wisdom. A D6 for ideal.
2.
Logic. Emotions must not cloud our sense of what is right and true or our logical thinking. Another D6, this time for bond.
6.
My isolation gave me great insight into a great evil that only I can destroy. Finally, the flaw, another D6, please.
1.
Now that I've returned to the world, I enjoy its delights a little too much.
So we're going to jump straight to the ability scores now and see where that gets us. And that's going to hopefully give us some guidance on what this character is good at. And so we have our competition here. We're going to roll 4d6, drop the lowest. Strength is first. Here we go. That's a 13.
Let's see how dexterous our friend is here. That is an 8.
Constitution.
Hey!
Oh, it's a 16.
Oh, God. All right. Intelligence. What do we got? A 9.
Wisdom. That's another 16.
Oh, unbelievable. All right. An 11. Oh, man.
It is 28 for Christian and 45 for Emilio.
Oh, my God.
This fits really well for the fighter. Their strength and constitution is really high. That's important. And for a hermit who's been studying and gone into this hermitage for some spiritual purpose, their wisdom is really high, which also probably makes a lot of sense.
We have to start answering these questions. How did they find themselves in a tiefling hermitage? How did they become a fighter? Was this beforehand? Was this afterward? Who was this wise teacher who they want to emulate? Mm-hmm. What's happened since they've gotten back into the world, because there's a lot of hedonism there?
We already have a tiefling monastery in the Let's Roll Characters universe.
Oh, we do! Where Visendakarn was?
Where Visendakarn was. It might be fun to say that this orc was also at that monastery.
Our orc friend here was going about their business, and we can figure out what this fighter was doing sort of before they became a hermit. But they're doing this in their, maybe predominantly orc village or whatever. And the head priest from this temple, the one who, by the way, Visendakarn has a soft spot for, comes to this village to preach or do business or something like that, but there are some street toughs or something like that who are trying to rough up the priest, and actually our friend here jumps in and saves them.
So I think it actually could work like this. The priest could come to the city to preach. This orc sees that, is just watching this, a bystander. Maybe they're at the shop or something. Maybe they were convinced during their sermon that this was an interesting person. They follow them. They see them get accosted. They jump in to save them.
I think it's important to maybe talk about like what it was that was said in order to convince this orc to up and leave and head to the desert. I mean, it's no small thing to just sort of give up one's life and become a hermit.
I think here we can go back to the ideal that we rolled, which is logic. They have this sort of lawful sensibility. Bahamut, the dragon that these tieflings worship, their dogma, according to what I'm reading right now, is based on justice, nobility, protection, and honor.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
So they could have been preaching that gospel in the square, talking about nobility, talking about honor.
And then our character here had an opportunity to actually act out what had just been said in this sermon, and the priest recognizes the sort of serendipity of this and just says, listen, Bahamut brought us together so that you could protect me. Please come and learn more about his teachings.
Yeah.
What we get for the background proficiencies are medicine and religion, and that sort of makes easy sense, at least the religious part. The medicine piece, maybe this is just something they kind of pick up in the temple. After all, we know that this temple has the ability to sort of nurse people back to health because of Versendikarn's story. And then as far as the additional skills proficiencies, we have options of 2 of acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival.
We tend to like characters that have insight, but I think it really fits their wisdom is very high, their intelligence is not. They seem to be more of someone that senses things. How about just like throw in animal handling, and that could have been like, maybe they were like the town like donkey wrangler or something.
I think we should just do athletics and insight.
All right, athletics and insight it is.
So now we're bouncing back to the philosophical theory and the insight on a great evil. My thought on this is actually they're probably one in the same. I don't perceive this character to be doing a lot of book learning, so I think it's probably actually through prayer and meditation that they start connecting the dots on something that doesn't seem right in this temple. Is there like an evil dragonborn god who could potentially be attempting to exercise influence?
Totally. And I think even more than evil would be chaotic. It could just be any chaotic dragon. So that's sort of very like traditional D&D. There's an evil dragon out there that's causing chaos. It's doing it through manipulation, infiltrating this temple that worships justice and order.
What if there is a conspiracy afoot in the temple and it actually leads to the murder of this priest?
It's a classic Christian switcheroo.
And that is why they head out into the world after sort of finding out about this conspiracy, and maybe their life is under threat because they're aligned with the priest and they have to flee the temple. And before doing that, they learn that there is this evil dragon that is exerting influence, and they are going to go seek that evil dragon out.
Yeah, I think that connects almost all the dots.
Yes.
The first personality trait, I'm working on a grand philosophical theory and love sharing my ideas. That can be a bit of just flavor.
They were working on something with the head priest, maybe, to sort of better understand how to reach or attain enlightenment.
They're working on their doctorate.
Yes.
They've got their mentor.
Yes.
And then, it all goes to hell.
We've got a story coming together here, which I don't even know how I'm going to recount this thing. But before we get there, what is the name of our orcish friend here?
Heroic orc name.
Yeah, I know. I'm like doing orcish translation.
I searched orcish word for wise, and it showed me orcish word for blood. Don't know why.
Okay.
But the word bloodstained is Pargi-Jakun.
Shorten that word to something that's a name.
What about just Jakun?
I'm into Jakun. Yeah, I could do Jakun for a first name.
What about Jakun of the something?
Jakun who lends strength. Jakun who brings force. Jakun who lends power. Jakun who provides...
Protection? Jakun the Protector?
Jakun the Protector?
Yeah.
I could do Jakun the Protector.
You like that?
Jakun the Protector!
All right, Christian. I think we have it. Tell us about Jakun the Protector.
Yes, so Jakun the Protector is a non-binary, orcish ancestry, tiefling-cultured hermit fighter who really was sort of aimless in their life. And in their village, they happened upon a sermon by someone who seemed like a pretty wise preacher. This preacher ended up being the head priest of a nearby temple. And after their sermon, which really was about justice and protection and all of these sort of noble virtues, Jakun decided to kind of follow up on that. And as they were doing so, they saw that the priest was being assaulted by some local goons and thugs who, were not down with what he was preaching. And so Jakun intervened and saved the priest. And the priest saw that these actions were serendipitously consistent with the sermon and really just immediately invited Jakun to join him at the far-off hermitage. As Jakun sort of spent time there, perhaps even years, they learned of a plot that was being they learned of a conspiracy that was happening among a faction of other priests and hermits. And these priests and hermits, they actually murdered the head priest who Jakun had been working on a sort of grand theory of how to become enlightened with. Devastated by this, their life was threatened as well, and sort of in the process of escape, they learned that this other faction was actually corrupted by an evil dragon, and Jakun is now setting off to find this dragon and put an end to the corruption.
Very nice, Christian. Do we have our character?
Yes, we do! And so now do all of you. If you like Jakun the Protector, please feel free to download the PDF at the link below so that you can bring them into your game.
Yes, indeed. And as always, if you enjoy Let's Roll Characters, give us a like, subscribe so you can stay up on our content, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of Jakun and what kind of characters you'd like to see us roll for future episodes.
Yes, and thanks for watching.
All right, now go play some D&D.
Boom, 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 boom. Characters, gonna roll characters.
What is hero in orc? That is... in orcish, it's hero. Way to go, orc translator. You suck.
Christian, you swollen giant crab.
Now it just hurts. Now it just hurts.
It does feel a little mean. I think I'll stop. All right, here we go.